Hello, hello, hello. I forgot I needed a notebook for this. Welcome. I just wanted to chat with you about what is this free emotional release stuff that I'm doing. What does it look like? What is it? So first, let me tell you the 2 testimonials because they're pretty amazing and I don't want to forget them. So the first one was one of my clients. We did our first session together. She did not have a heart wall, which a heart wall is basically where you've had a really intense emotional time where your body's trapped the physical emotion, the physical negative emotion, and it's taken that, and it's during this intense time, your body has basically taken all the extra energy to create a wall around your heart. So for me, my example was my parents got divorced when I was 16, and that's when I built my heart wall. I basically built a wall around my heart to protect myself from the only thing in my body that's extra, right? Because everything else has a time, like it's doing its job. But these negative emotions that float around our body, energy, right? Like our bodies are energy. They move, all of that. MRIs, it takes an image of the energy of our body. So basically, so she didn't have a heart wall the first time. So we tested her a second time. She had a heart wall. And so we released it. Well, the next time that we met the following week, she literally was like, I don't understand. I was crying nonstop this week. I couldn't figure it out. And then her fiance basically said, aren't you doing some emotional release stuff? And she was like, oh. So she was super emotional, crying about everything. So then that was a week ago. And then on this last week we met again, and she was still just really emotional all week. Granted, guys, we're in a time where it's very emotional. I get that. But she all of a sudden, all of these negative emotions that were blocking her heart from feeling, they were gone. So she was actually feeling all the emotions and the feelings that were coming at her. Now, why do you want it gone? Because you're having a heart wall with negative emotions. It's not blocking you and helping you, because eventually it's going to cause disease or illness, right? So where I learned it all, I actually am trained in it and passed the test and going through all of that. And so the emotion code certification is what I'm working on the very tail end of. And it's just really, really incredible. Just all of the stuff that he's figured out. So he's a believer. He's a chiropractor. He lives in Southern California, and he's just been doing this for a lot of years, and it's pretty incredible. So that was one story. I then yesterday saw a friend online posting about how she was feeling. She didn't feel the emotion of anxiety, but she was feeling it physically. So she actually felt it right here and right here on her rib cage. And so I just messaged her and I was like, hey, can I just do a quick session on you tonight? Just to see, right? And this is what I'm doing for you guys. I want to see if I can help, because I know I have something that's been a radical tool for me to relieve pain because the trapped emotions, they just get caught in different areas of our body and then can cause physical pain. So whether you guys are feeling the really high anxiety, or you're feeling the worry or the nervousness or whatever, I also know that people can feel the physical effects of it. And so we literally went through and released, I forget how many emotions we released, but basically when we released these emotions, we tracked her pain as it went down. So we looked at her pain when it started, and then we tracked it. I have a funny hair right here. We tracked it, and then we'd release emotion, then I'd ask her again, and then we'd release emotion, and I'd ask it again. And so her pain right here, starting at 8, went all the way down into emotions. And then the pain underneath here had gone down, I think to a 4, I don't remember exactly. And then after one emotion was totally gone. And then I just asked, because I was like, I just want to make sure there's no more emotions. And there was another emotion, and we released it. And it was just so amazing to watch that. And so those are the 2 really, really cool things to see. We can have physical pain and release trapped emotions, and it totally releases it. Dr. Bradley Nelson, he actually will say, he says in his book, I think it's 75 or 80%, but on his training, he says 90 to 95%. And I almost wonder, the more I do this, if 100% of physical pain is actually caused by trapped emotions. And sometimes trapped emotions aren't necessarily 100% negative. Like one of them on the list is actually overjoyed. So basically what it is when we feel an emotion too big and too large, the vibration of that emotion, and again, nothing weird and woo-woo, but literally our emotions are energy and their vibration, and our bodies are energy and feel the vibration. And so what will happen is if we feel it too overwhelmingly, like just too much, our body will trap it because it won't know what to do with it. And then that negative vibration just vibrates in you wherever it's, and usually it traps in the, if you have a weakest part of your body, usually will trap there. So I just want to show you guys really quick. I've never done it. I've done it. I'm actually in a few minutes going to hop on and do it live in my Oily Enneagram group. A perk of being a paid member there. And I've done it in front of groups of people when I've taught classes in real life, but I've never done it live on a video like this. So I'm just going to do this for you guys for a minute. And the other thing I want to tell you is the way you release it is you release it with a magnet over it's something called a Governing Meridian. It starts right here and goes straight over your head, down your back to your tailbone. You don't have to reach the whole thing. You just have to reach a portion of it. And the reason why I use a strong magnet is the magnet basically it magnifies the intent of whatever you're trying to release. So let's say I come up with the emotion that my body is trapped, and we'll say it's frustration. And when I put that over there, what I'm doing is I'm basically telling my body I am taking this frustration and I'm neutralizing the energy. And what I do is I sit and I pray, but I also am thinking the opposite of that. So the opposite of frustration for me is calm. So as I'm doing it, I'm sitting and thinking like, I am replacing this frustration with calm. I want to be calm. I feel calm. Like that's what I'm doing. And so again, nothing magical about a magnet, but it's literally just magnifying the intention of releasing, being intentional, figuring it out, and then releasing. So one of the first things you do when you muscle test. So I'm going to be doing muscle testing, which there's the chiropractors use it to figure out what your body needs and all of that. Same thing. I'm just figuring out, are there trapped emotions in my body? And so you always do a test to figure out if you're testable. So the first thing I'll do is, if I say a positive, I'm going to go forward. If I say a negative, I'm going to go back. So the first thing I'll start with is, my name is Micah. Forward. Seems bizarre. I'm not doing it. I promise. If you stand up and do it in your living room right now, you'll find the same thing. If you say your name, you'll go forward. If you say someone else's name, you'll go back. So my name is Thomas. Very clearly not Thomas. And then we start with, it's going to sound funny because I'm doing columns and rows to figure out which box of 5 it is, so I don't have to do all 60 emotions. Just makes it quicker. So is it in the odd rows? Yes. Is it in the even rows? No. So I just want to make sure. Is it in row 1? No. Is it in row 3? No. Is it in row 5? Yes, so this trapped emotion I have is in row 5. Is it in column A? Yes. Is it in column B? No. So you guys can't feel it, but my body right around my kneecaps is like moving my body forward and back. The rest of it just sways so you can see. Okay, so where was I? Okay, I just asked in my mind which one it was because I was telling you and I forgot. Okay, is this the emotion of blaming? Yes, it is. So that was pretty quick. I'll ask an opposite just to make sure that that's true. Is it the emotion of dread? No. So right now my body came up with, it has trapped the emotion of blaming at some point. It can be my emotion or someone else's. So I then always ask, do we need to know anything more about this? No. So my subconscious knows exactly what's trapped and what needs to be released. And it knows my conscious mind doesn't need to know anything more. That's not always the case. So what I do now is the opposite of blaming for me is responsibility. So I always ask people to have what is the opposite so we can sit and think. So I will literally do this and think about responsibility. You just roll it over 3 times. And then you muscle test and you say, is this emotion of blaming released? Yes, it is. So if I had been testing for a physical pain, which I do this with my shoulder and my back because I get physical pain there, I would then rate my pain scale to see where it is. But that is basically what it is. So in this season of craziness, I am offering free sessions to people just to be able to release these crazy hard emotions. And if that is something you're interested in, message me. You can comment below. And I'm just going to say, just private message me so I can send you my calendar link and talk through any other questions you have. But that is the gist of what I do, you guys. And it's pretty radical to see all the things that I have watched God do through it. I've watched just some really radical emotional change for people and their just emotional health. So if you're just jumping on, go back, watch the beginning where I just kind of explain everything, and then muscle test myself so you can see what it looks like to do emotional release. So I love you guys, and we'll chat soon.